I found out my wife was pregnant, but the child isn't mine. There are moments in life that knock the wind out of you, and this was one of them. My name is Tond, and I live in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm 34 years old, married to the love of my life, Ifeoma, for 3 years. We lived in a modest but comfortable flat in Ikeja. Lagos life can be chaotic, but I had always found peace in my marriage, or at least, I thought I did. Until one fateful evening when everything changed. It started as an ordinary Tuesday. Work had been hectic, as usual. The deadlines were piling up, the clients were complaining, and I had spent 2 hours in traffic on 3rd Mainland Bridge. By the time I got home, I was drained, mentally and physically. Ifeoma greeted me at the door with a tired smile. She had just started her maternity leave, and her baby bump was now unmistakable. She looked beautiful, glowing even. "Welcome home," she said, handing me a plate of jollof rice and plantain. I sat at the dining table, eating silently, while she hummed a tune in the kitchen. Everything seemed normal. Peaceful, even. But then my phone buzzed. It was a message. From her phone. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe she had sent something to me by accident. But when I opened the message, my heart sank. It was a voice note, not from her, but from a man. I hesitated before pressing play. My gut told me I wouldn't like what I was about to hear, but curiosity got the better of me. I put on my earphones and hit play. The voice was deep and calm. "Ifeoma, you can't keep lying to Tond forever. He deserves to know the truth. You promised me we'd talk after the baby is born, but I can't keep quiet anymore." The plate of food slipped from my hands, crashing onto the floor. I couldn't breathe. My mind raced with questions. What truth? Who was this man? What was going on? My wife, my partner, the woman I trusted more than anyone else in the world, was keeping a secret from me. A big one. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up, replaying the voice note over and over. It felt like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Ifeoma slept peacefully beside me, her hand resting protectively on her belly. How could she lie to me like this? I stared at the ceiling, my chest heavy with suspicion and dread. When I was sure she was deep asleep, I carefully took her phone. My hands were shaking as I unlocked it. I felt guilty invading her privacy, but I had to know the truth. I opened her messages and searched for the name Kola. There it was. A string of messages that made my stomach turn. "Kola, I'm scared. What if Tond finds out?" one message read. "Don't worry, Iferi. It's our child. He won't suspect a thing," Kola had replied. I sat there, stunned. This couldn't be real. My Ifeoma, my wife, had been having an affair. And the baby I had been so excited to welcome wasn't mine. The next morning, I couldn't hold it in any longer. As she sat down for breakfast, I blurted it out. "Who is Kola?" She froze, the color draining from her face. "What are you talking about?" she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Don't lie to me, Ifeoma. I know everything. The messages, the voice note. Who is Kola, and why does he think the baby is his?" Her silence was deafening. Then, she broke down in tears. Between sobs, she confessed. Kola was an old boyfriend she had reconnected with last year, during a rough patch in our marriage. She said it was a mistake, that she thought I didn't love her anymore, and one thing led to another. "I didn't mean for this to happen, Tond," she pleaded. "I love you. I made a mistake. Please, forgive me." I felt like the ground had been pulled out from under me. So, you're telling me you slept with him, got pregnant, and now you want me to raise his child as mine? I said, my voice shaking with anger. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I didn't know how to tell you. I was scared of losing you. For days, I was in a fog. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. My first instinct was to leave. How could I stay with someone who had betrayed me so deeply? But then I thought about the complications. Divorce isn't simple in our culture. Families would get involved. Opinions would fly. And then there was the child, innocent in all of this. I reached out to my best friend, Connor. He listened patiently as I poured out everything. When I was done, he said something that stuck with me. "Tond, this is a mess. But you need to figure out what you want. If you can't forgive her, then leave. But if you choose to stay, you have to accept the situation fully. You can't do it halfway." After much soul-searching, I decided to confront the issue head-on. I told Ifeoma that we needed to come clean to our families. If we were going to fix this, we couldn't do it alone. She hesitated but eventually agreed. The family meeting was one of the hardest moments of my life. Her parents were ashamed, my parents were furious, and I felt like a fool sitting there, airing out our dirty laundry. But something unexpected happened. My mother, the person I thought would push for divorce, surprised me. "Tond," she said, "if you choose to stay, don't do it out of pity or shame. Do it because you still see a future with her. And Ifeoma, if he stays, you owe him honesty and loyalty from now on. No more lies." In the end, I chose to stay. It wasn't an easy decision, and even now, I struggle with it. We went to counseling, a rarity in our culture, and slowly began to rebuild. It's been 2 years since then, and while things aren't perfect, we've come a long way. I've learned to love the child as my own, but it took time, patience, and a lot of forgiveness. So, that's my story. Life is messy, and love isn't always enough. But sometimes, with effort and honesty, you can find a way forward. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Could you forgive such a betrayal, or would you walk away? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. ***.